right? It appears that it's still a bit of a business as usual kind of thing, instead of us having the proper oversight function to ensure that these people are doing what they ought to do when they ought to do it. It seems that we're still crawling with that. How can we fine-tune these processes, perhaps digitize it, and then how can we push it in such a way that the oversight functions by the legislators are properly done, and of course, Nigerians who are the beneficiaries of whatever should be done, gain from this?
Well, anybody who is familiar with the legislature in Nigeria and the National Assembly in particular will not disagree with the statement that oversight is probably one of the weakest points of the legislature in Nigeria for many reasons. One.
Hi, from football. I'm Kemi Ashekun. And now the news in detail. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called on President Bola Tinubu and his vice, Kashim Shettima, to take a cue from the late President Umar Yar'Adua by publicly declaring their assets as a demonstration of their determination to lead by example. The PDP says declaring their financial and material for Nigerians publicly will set a good example for other political office holders. PDP, through its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, said it was not enough for the president to fill the asset declaration forms and return same to the Code of Conduct Bureau just to fulfill the requirements of the law. The federal government has said it will consider the list of demands from Trade Union Congress TUC, which includes raising the minimum wage and offering workers tax holidays. This was disclosed after a meeting between both parties at the Aso Villa in Abuja. Tessie Otung of Global TV reports.
Speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting between the federal government and the TUC, which lasted for about 3 hours, the spokesperson for the federal government, Dele Alake, said that it will also look at the practicability of the demands. Among things the government is considering is tax holidays for workers. Alake said that most fundamentally, President Bola Tinubu will constitute a tripartite committee to include state and organized labor and the private sector to study the dynamics of the minimum wage augmentation to reach an amicable conclusion.
The most important is the minimum wage, that is increase of minimum wage, because when this thing is removed, the argument of labor is that there is an immediate impact on the workers, on the purchasing power, because price of fuel has gone up. So that would necessarily reduce the purchasing power of the average worker. So the next thing of immediate consequence is to increase the purchasing power of the worker. And so that, to me and to all of us on this side, is the topmost priority on the list. There are other things like the tax holidays, which will be some categories of workers will be beneficiaries.
According to Alake, there is no disagreement with the Nigeria Labour Congress over their demand for a review of the minimum wage or a return to the status quo, noting that the federal government representatives will meet with the president to crystallize decisions on the demands. He added that the absence of the NLC does not translate to an isolation of the group in the discussion, but that the federal government is making efforts to reach them as the parties agree to reconvene on Tuesday, 24 hours before a scheduled strike by the NLC.
We are making efforts to reach NLC. We all agreed that we were going to meet here, but again, in this game, there are dynamics. Sometimes they could be meeting with their own executive and not able to meet with us, or they could want to postpone, or they have not actually articulated their own list of demands as the TUC. But we cannot second guess why they're not here. But efforts are being made to reach them.
Meanwhile, the TUC has maintained that the federal government, in the interest of social dialogue, revert the price of fuel while discussions continue.
When they presented the items to us on Wednesday, we told them that we're going back to our principals. So that they also need to touch base with Mr. President so that we will convey this meeting again on Tuesday. So we've, and topmost in our demand was clearly stated as well, that for utmost good faith and in the interest of social dialogue, that they should revert back the pump price while discussion continues.
Tessie Otung reporting for Global TV.
The Kwara State government has directed that work days be reduced from 5 to 3 days per week for every worker in the state following the hike in transport fares. The state head of service, Mrs. Suzanne Oluwole, directed all heads of ministries, departments and agencies to immediately work out a format indicating the alternating work days for each worker under them. Oluwole said that the government took the temporary measure to ease the burden on public workers in the state and relieve them of the hardship being experienced as a result of the fuel subsidy removal announced by the federal government. The Senate has indicted the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation over failure to repay short-term loans given to ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, from special funds accounts, totaling 910 billion naira. The loans and debt arising from special funds accounts totaling 910 billion naira showed that the balances remain unpaid throughout the year, although the loans were meant to be short-term. However, the Office of the Accountant General in its response claims that several letters had been written to the Minister of Finance to authorize the settlement of the loans granted against allocations of various MDAs affected. The 9th National Assembly, which was inaugurated on the 11th of June 2019, will wind down this week. The House of Representatives will hold its valedictory session on Tuesday, while the Senate will have its own on Wednesday. Senate President Ahmed Lawan is expected to adjourn sitting at the Red Chamber indefinitely, while the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, will close the Green Chamber on Thursday. The 10th Assembly is billed for inauguration on the 13th of June 2023, when a new set of presiding officers will either be adopted or re-elected. Zamfara State Police Command has disclosed it rescued 9 children abducted by bandits from the Gora Namaye community in Maradun local government area of the state. The command's public relations officer, ASP Yazid Abubakar, made the disclosure in a statement issued in Gusau. The police spokesperson added that the command has already reunited the victims with their families. It will be recalled that bandits on Saturday attacked some communities in the same Maradun local government area, killing some innocent persons while injuring others. You're watching the News Express on Global TV, coming to you live on Star Times Channel 276 from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. You can follow us across social media platforms at Global TV NG. More stories coming your way after the break. Please stay with us. Members and non-members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, have agreed to cut crude oil production volumes in order to ensure global oil market stability, but allowed Nigeria, Congo and Angola to continue to produce maximally to their OPEC quota of 2023 as of tense haggling. Nigeria and other OPEC and non-OPEC members met at the 35th Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee meeting of OPEC held in Vienna, Austria on Sunday. The Nigerian head of delegation to the meeting said in a statement that OPEC had also agreed to allow these countries to continue to produce maximally to their OPEC quota of 2023. And now to a bit of business. The Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, has expressed its determination to deepen and diversify the capital market in a bid to create more wealth for investors and Nigerians, as well as stimulate economic growth. Director General of SEC, Mr. Lamido Yuguda, said in a bid to develop the market, they saw the need to have a forum where the Commission could interface with issuers in a bid to discourage delisting, thereby engaging the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, NECA, and setting up the Securities Issuers Forum. Yuguda said that the Commission is working hard to look at the various issues and ensure that the problem of delisting by companies is brought under check. And now to the foreign scene, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called the killing of 3 soldiers by a member of the Egyptian security services a terrorist attack and demanded full joint investigation with Cairo. Egypt says it is working with Israel to investigate the incident, which occurred on Saturday. Netanyahu, in a televised message, said to the Egyptian government that he expects the joint investigation will be exhaustive and thorough. Meanwhile, in Kenya has closed its diplomatic mission in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, as clashes intensify between the rival military forces. The foreign ministry said the mission had remained open to support the evacuation of Kenyan citizens, but was now closed as it had come under threat from the fighting. Nairobi has been supporting African initiatives to end the conflict between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. And now to sports. The head coach of the Flying Eagles, Ladan Boso, has refused to blame his players after they were eliminated from the ongoing 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina. The Flying Eagles dominated the match but fell to the axe in the hands of the Taeguk Warriors of Korea in extra time. The gaffer praised his players for their impressive performance in the game. Boso, however, claims the Flying Eagles were poor in converting their chances. South Korea will now face Italy on Thursday. Enigmatic Swede Zlatan Ibrahimovic has decided to call time on a trophy-laden career that saw him representing Malmo, Ajax, Juventus, Inter Milan, Barcelona, PSG, United and the LA Galaxy, and winning league titles in the Netherlands, Spain, France and Italy across his 24 years in professional football, scoring 511 goals in 866 cup games as well as 62 in 122 for his country. The striker, whose AC Milan contract expires at the end of June, was all teary before Milan fans as they played their final game of the season against Hellas Verona at the San Siro on Sunday. Following an injury-plagued season, the ex-Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain star made just 4 appearances in all competitions in the just-concluded campaign and last featured against Udinese on the 18th of March. It is not yet known what lies in store for the legendary attacker. However, it is safe to say that he won't be jumping into the dugout anytime soon. 35-year-old Real Madrid forward Karim Benzema has reached an agreement and will sign a 2-year deal with reigning Saudi Pro League champions Al Ittihad. The former France international joined Spanish heavyweight champion Real Madrid from his hometown club Lyon in 2009 and has made 658 appearances, scoring 354 goals. In the pro scored a second-half penalty to earn Madrid a draw in the final league match of the season against Atletico Bilbao on Sunday and finishes the season with 31 goals and 6 assists in 43 games in all competitions. An institutional act of homage and farewell has been scheduled to hold tomorrow at Real Madrid Sports City for the current Ballon d'Or champion, and club president Florentino Perez has been reported he will attend. And to a bit of local basketball, First Bank of Lagos and IGP Queens, also of Lagos, will clash today at the Samuel Bamudia Stadium in Benin City. The 2 high-flying teams in the ongoing preliminaries for the National Women League have been dominating their opponents so far in the competition, and only 8 of the 16 teams playing in Benin will qualify to compete in the National Women Basketball Elite League. The clash today is a big test and very dicey for both sides, as they have both recorded 3 wins so far respectively and are aiming for the 4th. And that's it. As we end the News Express, here are some of our top stories. Kwara State government has directed work days be reduced from 5 days to 3 per week. OPEC has agreed to cut crude oil production volumes. On the foreign scene, we told you that Kenya has closed its diplomatic mission in the Sudanese capital. And in sports, Zlatan Ibrahimovic retires from football. That's it for the News Express and Global TV, live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, One Star Times Channel 276. And you can follow us across our social media platforms at Global TV NG. Thank you for watching. I'm Kemi Ashiko. Enjoy the rest of your evening.